News First NewsLine with Faraz Shaukatali.
And top of the morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this morning we're joined here by Mr. Lasil De Silva. And I'm going to start off by asking Mr. De Silva a question, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to answer it as citizen Lasil De Silva. Very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Faraz.
Citizen De Silva, it's lovely to see you.
That's the happiest to be addressed in that way.
Citizen De Silva.
Citizen De Silva.
Now then, I want to ask you this, all right? Listen to the bit, the flow. Sometime back, during the war years, a chap by the name called KP.
Yeah, KP.
He was in charge of procurement for the LTTE. Now we have to remember that the LTTE was infamously famous.
Yeah.
They were famous for being the most feared terror organization in the world.
Definitely.
Right? They are the same outfit that gave the world a lasting gift, the world of terror a lasting gift. It's also known as the suicide bomber.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was devised by them.
Definitely.
Now, towards the end of the war, the Sri Lankan authorities managed to find KP, to rendition him or return him to Sri Lanka.
Correct.
KP now appears to have been rehabilitated because he's living quite freely up in the north.
Correct, yeah.
Now, that's on the one part. The next bit is our Minister of Sport, Mr. Harin Fernando. He says that it is his opinion or his view that Sri Lanka cricket admin is the most corrupt of all cricketing nations. I don't know how he came to that conclusion, whether he had a background check done, I don't know. But in the same way, our now Finance Minister, then Foreign Minister Mangala Samaravira, he agreed that there were 40,000 plus dead.
Right, yeah.
And he was happy, along with Ranil, RW, dear Ranil, to support to co-sponsor that UN resolution along with the United States. All right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this was all done. Now, these are the same people who make these statements and so on and so forth, and who tracked down KP and brought him back and apparently rehabilitated him. Now, these are the same people who want us to believe, that Arjuna Mahendran cannot be found, that they cannot serve notice on him, and they don't know when he can be brought back, and therefore it was unfair to keep Messrs. Aloysius and Palisena locked up in remand. Do you believe it's not possible?
I don't think it could be accepted because, you know, that's a long story. If there is a will, there is a way. That's all what I believe.
Well, obviously there is a will and there is a way, because a South African media house, we discovered this yesterday.
Yeah.
A South African media house has not only found Mahendran, they have interviewed him and got his own analysis on, of all things, a potential money laundering deal involving an international bank, right? And they have quoted him in their website. So to do that, they know where he is, right? They've been able to speak to him. But the outfit or the government that was so clever and capable of bringing KP down, they can't find Arjuna Mahendran.
No, as I said, if there is a will, there is a way. Let me take you back to the Presidential Commission investigations. Actually, there it was revealed explicitly very clear that, you know, it was an appointment based on the recommendation of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, the present Prime Minister, knowing that he was not a Sri Lankan. That's one. On the other hand, having been appointed, there is a series of events, you know. Mahendran's resignation from, you know, perpetual treasuries long before he was appointed to the commission.
His resignation.
Yeah. No. Arjuna Mahendran was a board of director, a member of the board of perpetual
Mahendran?
Mahendran, yes.
The former governor?
Yeah.
I think you may want to...
No. He was a board member and he had resigned, if I remember right, you know, offhand, 16th of January in 2015, long before. If I am correct, the appointment was made on the 23rd, you know, because the speculation was going on that he was a non-resident Sri Lankan, not a Sri Lankan, all that. On that basis, there was a delay, but long before he was appointed, you know, he had resigned. That was one issue that had come up. And Commission even had taken up, why? Fearing that there could be an issue of conflict of interest, he had resigned. All that happened. Now, the Commission also had said this was a valid judgment. The appointment of Arjuna Mahendran was a valid judgment according to the words of the Commission. Now, if that is the case, Ranil Wickremesinghe is responsible, certainly. That's one. On the other hand, he left, Arjuna Mahendran left the country with the permission of the government and
at least the knowledge of.
Yeah, actually I believe it was with the permission, because there was an understanding that he would be brought back, and the Prime Minister specifically stated that on the floor of the House that he was going for a wedding, right? So on the one hand, they knew that he had to be sent back, be allowed to go for a wedding. And if he had been allowed by the government, the authorities, definitely they are responsible and they should be brought back. Now, if there is evidence, right? Now, there are a number of them who are absconding arrest. Why? It is all because none of them in the government want to arrest them. Veeratunga, so many other names, you know. Not Veeratunga, the guy who, this big deal. Yeah, all of them, right? They have to be arrested. Unfortunately, when there is impunity, you know, actually when you talk about impunity, that is a deficit of these democratic requirements, in the sense like rule of law, accountability, all that. It is so unfortunate this is being delayed. And it is particularly dangerous because Arjuna Mahendran was responsible for a fraud committed, and having given that burden for 30 years, even for the children who are unborn, because they will have to carry all that burden. And I would say this way, if it was not a burden, you know, if the loans were taken on a very small interest payment, it could have been accepted, because that was with the love for the country or for the people, right? Here, with a massive interest, and the loss was so huge, and it was running into so many billions. How can you expect? I believe there was an incident in the past where the former Prime Minister, Mrs. Bandaranaike, that was the only recommendation so far implemented by the Parliament and the rulers to remove her civic rights. Not only her, that was again Felix Bandaranaike as well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we must say it is good enough, and we should not permit this kind of things. People, as you say, citizen Lassil De Silva and citizen Faras, all of us have a duty to ask all this should be implemented, because it is because we are also lethargic, things are happening this way. And it is something like this. Governance should not be left in the hands of politicians alone.
Indeed. Now then, back to this business about Mahendran. On the 1st of March 2015, just days after that bond was issued, right? Team News first asked for Mahendran to be moved out of the way so that a robust investigation can go ahead. That was never done. On the contrary, we had the minister in charge of the subject, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, also happened to be the Prime Minister then, who continuously maintained that there was no evidence of wrongdoing.
Yeah, there was
no evidence of wrongdoing. It was almost like a blessed mantra. That's what he said, only to be found out. Now, had he looked into the conflict of interest scenario at that time, there would have been no bond too.
Actually, to endorse your statement, and there was a committee appointed by 3 lawyers.
Yes, the Pitipana committee. How could you forget?
All that they said, there was no fraud, right? There was no fraud. So, but I think we must give credit to Sirasa, MTV, all that,
Yeah.
because you all were the people who really took it up on a day-to-day basis, eventually proved to the world, the country, that this was a massive fraud. I think this must be, again, I have said this so many times.
Yes. No, but the point is this, that they are continuously expecting the people to believe that Mahendran is going to get away with this because they can't locate him. What rubbish is this?
If that is the case, I think the parliament must bring, right? I think this is a matter because, as I said just now, a little while ago, now Mrs. Bandaranayake was, charged and dealt with, saying that she abused her powers.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't this abuse of powers? All this is really abuse of powers. Now, shifting all that from the Minister of Finance to another ministry and bringing it under your system and meticulously planning to rob, having employed Arjun Mahendran on that basis, right? I would say it's a massive fraud for which they have used their powers and they have abused all that. I think the country must stand up and say, okay, enough is enough. I always say that, right? Deal with them and bring Arjun Mahendran. If not, send...
Well, according to the lawyer Gomin Dayasri, who was on our program yesterday, he says that it is possible to try Mahendran in absentia.
Yeah, that's another issue. But at the same time, now I remember when I was in Australia, there was a minister, Suzanne Lee, right? You all make all kinds of, these allegations came up in the news, the media took it up, right?
Yeah.
There is a practice in democratic countries, ultimately you bow down and you leave and you say, okay, that's the end of the story, I will step out. But it doesn't end there.
No.
Then the legal process takes over. It is so very unfortunate, however much you take up in the media, day after day, day in, day out, right? Nothing happens. This is in this country, and actually this government came to power and wanted MR regime out, saying that there was no rule of law, there was impunity, there was corruption, all that, right? Having come to power with having made pledges to say that they will restore rule of law, deal with corrupt practices, deal with corrupt people, none of those things have been done. And they continue to do the same thing. I think the media and even the citizens in the country must wake up, because it is their money and we people are suffering. And I'm a pensioner, right? I get a very small pension compared to what happens, right? Those are irregularities again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, members of parliament, they get increases when there's an increase in the pension members' allowances parallel on that basis, right? It is very unfortunate the public servants are not regarded that way, treated that way. My argument is, right, enough is enough. It is always better if we can certainly ensure that the people, the public, in the sense, elected representatives who have violated rules, abused powers, right, they should be definitely dealt with. Impunity has gone too far.
Thank you for that. And on that note, Lassel de Silva, we'll take a short break. Don't go away. After all, this is Newsline.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And welcome back to Newsline, where we are live and we are in conversation with Mr. Lassel de Silva. Now then, Mr. de Silva, when is this all going to stop? Isn't it a crying shame, by the way, that as you've pointed out, I think in one of your articles, that the quorum, the minimum number of members required to convene Parliament, to be present in Parliament, is only 20. 20 out of 225.
Now, I have taken this up in an article, May the Good Men Take Care of the Public Good. Do we have such leaders? Part 1, that's in Daily FT today. I think I request all the public to read this article, because this is an issue. Quorum has been a problem always. Parliament has been suspended in the sense they just couldn't proceed with the day's proceedings when there was no quorum. Now, this is one particular area our legislators have not changed. Even in the Salisbury Constitution in 1947, right, up to now, the quorum, then it was 101 if I remember right, the quorum was 20, right? In 1972 Constitution, in 1978 Constitution, the quorum remains the same, 20. Now, we have a membership of 225, as you correctly said. Why didn't they change that? Because they don't want to change that. They don't want the inconveniences caused to the members. Now in Netherlands, I have quoted here, in Netherlands, the quorum is 50% plus 1.
50% plus 1.
If you don't have 50% and 1, the House cannot meet. So they have to be very punctual. If the sitting starts at 10 o'clock, the whole lot, 50% and 1, will be there in the Parliament for the Parliament to begin, right? Unless you have the 50% and 1, plus 1, you can't meet, right? So naturally, all that has eventually, raised the standard of Parliament. It is so very unfortunate we had to bear so much of expenses, costs. Running Parliament has become a vital effort today. If you really need to upgrade the Parliament, I believe the first thing, the basic thing that you should do is amend the quorum, which is 20, which is the only thing they have not changed since independence, right? They have changed Sri Lanka, the name, they have changed proportional representation in order to remain in power.
Other things.
Yeah, so many other things, right? Why didn't they change the quorum? I suggest the people must take up this issue. 50% 1 should be the quorum for the Parliament to sit and for committees to meet.
At least that way we'll get robust debate out of it.
And not only that, then there's a system in place. Punctuality can be observed down the line.
May I offer a little own take, if you like, as to why most of these things never see the light of day. And that's because in this government, the chief person, the MD, if you like, of this government,
CEO,
the CEO is Ranil Wickremesinghe. Ranil Wickremesinghe, unfortunately for the people, goes on the premise that people easily forget incidences. And therefore, he's decided to, forgive the French, bullshit his way by delaying proper inquiries. Now, it's best if Mr. Wickremesinghe remembers, and that he mustn't forget, that the people may forget, but our media will be at it, and we'll be at it and at it until the perpetrators are caught, held accountable, punished, and the money is recovered. That is what we would like to.
No,
I know what, Lassil, I hope that you'll be able to say that in Sinhalese, because my Sinhalese isn't very good, and I want to pass that message on to a wider audience than I have.
ඔයා කියන්න ෆාරාස් මේ දේවල් මේ විදියට යන්න දෙන්න බෑ. මට මතක් වුණා මම ඇත්තම ඔයා උතෙන්ද ගෙනාව මම මේකත් දාගෙන ආවේ විශේෂයෙන්ම Michael Spain, Minister of Economy, Industry and Digital Affairs of France, had said, government with less corruption can increase money in government coffers. The presence of corruption creates the most unsustainable environment for growth, increasing efficiency in the economy and government operations. ඔන්න ওই ටික ක්ලික් වුණ හරි විදියට මොකද මට ඕනකම තිබුණා විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ දූෂණ වංචා නිසා රටට වෙන හානිය. ඇත්ත වශයෙන් දුප්පත්කම වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මොන හේතුවක් නිසාද කියලා මිනිසුන්ට අපිට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. කොච්චර කිව්වත් මිනිස්සු තේරුම් ගන්නෑ මේ සේරම ওই മന്ത്രിවරු මිලදී ගන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන් අනිත් දේවල් වලදී වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒ සියලුම දේවල් අරගෙන ඒ සල්ලි මේ මහ ජනතාවගේ සල්ලි ඒවා ඒ රටේ සම්පත් හැටියට ආයෝජනය කරා නම් අද මේ රට දිව්‍ය ලෝකයක්. මට මතක් වුණා හෙන්රි මාර්ක් මේසන් මුව පළවෙනි ගවන මේ 1948 නිදහස ගත්ත සැරේ කියලා තියෙනවා මේ රට ලෝකයේ දියුණු රටවල් හා සමානව තියන්න පුළුවන් අධ්‍යාපන සෞඛ්‍ය වගේ දේවල් ගත්තාම ඇත්ත වශයෙන් මේකට දැන් තියෙන්නේ හරි පාලකයෝ තවත් දුරට ගෙනියන එකයි. අපේ රටේ ඇත්තම සුද්ධ කරාටත් වඩා හානියක් ඊට පස්සේ මේ කාලෙදී වුණා.
Can you tell me a bit about the quorum in Sinhalese, about this 20?
quorum කියන්නේ දැන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඝනපූර්ණය කියන එක ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ කියන්නේ කොච්චර මුදල් වැය කරත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව විවිධ අවස්ථාවන් වලදී ඝනපූර්ණ නැතුව පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අත්හිටවලා තියෙනවා, කොමිටි රැස්වීම් නවත්තලා තියෙනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ quorum කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ, ওই ඝනපූර්ණය කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකද 1947 සෝල්බරි කොමිෂන් සභා ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ පවා තිබුණේ 20යි ඝනපූර්ණයට තියෙන්න ඕන. හැබැයි එදා හිටියේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු 101යි. අද 225කට නගලත් 72 ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 78 ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ දිගටම quorum එක ඒ විදිහටම තියලා තියෙනවා. මම දකිනවා නෙදර්ලන්තය වගේ දියුණු රටවල් වල කරන්නේ ඒ quorum එක කියන්නේ 50%කුත් එක මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙකුත් එන්න ඕන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඝනපූර්ණය හරි ගැසෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුව රැස් වෙන්න ඕන. එතකොට ඒ හේතුව නිසා පැහැදිලිවම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වෙලාවට වැඩ කරන ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ගරු කරන නිසා ඒ සියලුම කටයුතු රට තුළදම රටේ හැම දෙනෙකුටම ඒ විදිහට කටයුතු කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඝනපූර්ණය අඩුවෙන් තියලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වංචනික මේ රටේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ සල්ලි සුදුවලියක් බවට පත් කරලා තියෙන ওই ක්‍රමවේද නිසා. ඒක නිසා අපි යෝජනා කරන්න ඕන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඝනපූර්ණය තියෙන්න ඕන 50% උත්තරත් එක්කෙනෙක්. ඒගොල්ලෝ attendance sheet එකක් අස්සම් කරන වෙන රටවල් වල මේ රටේ එහෙම කාලයක් තිබුණ අස්සම් කරන්න කියලා අපි කොහොනේ ඒගොල්ලෝ විරුද්ධව එහෙම අස්සම් කරනවා. ඇත්ත වශයෙන් මේ නීතිය එතනදලා පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම වුණොත් තමයි මේ රටේ ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් රටේ නීතිය ස්ථාපිත කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Well said, actually. That's a very good point, because if you have a quorum of 50% plus 1,
Yeah.
it would mean that we would have at least 113 members of Parliament present
Yeah.
and debating the work. After all, this is not for nothing. They get paid.
තව එකක් කියන්න ඕනේ. දැන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්ප්‍රදායක් තියෙනවා ඉතාමත්ම ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍ර විරෝධී. ඝනපූර්ණය නැති වෙලාවකට දෙගොල්ලම එක්කහුව වෙලා ඝනපූර්ණය නැහැ කියන ප්‍රශ්නය බොහෝ විට නගන්න එපා කියලා යම්කිසි අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩින් එකකුත් තියෙන එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ මොකද හේතුව ඒ තමන්ගේ වැඩේට. එහෙම නෙවෙයි. ඝනපූර්ණය නැත්තම් පැහැදිලිවම 50%යි එකක් එන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම වුණොත් පැහැදිලිවම මේ රට යම්කිසි විදිහකට ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම නාස්ති කරන මුදල් යම් ආකාරයකට ක්‍රමයකට පියවර ගන්න පුළුවන්.
Doesn't citizen Leslie De Silva get annoyed when politicians seem to think that the people are mutts?
I think they say that they believe.
No, they must do that.
Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah, they do that. They do that.
But they're in for a terrible shock.
Yeah.
They're still not reeling from getting over that shock.
Yeah.
The shock was delivered with a big punch.
Yeah.
Right where it hurts in February 2018.
Yeah.
When the people decided enough is enough and they voted.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're not having elections now?
No, actually, you know, the commissioner very specifically said it is so very undemocratic not to hold elections, right? That's a democratic right. You should never deny.
Yes,
our
and the
right.
elections commissioner, God bless his soul,
Yeah.
Minded Deshapre, he
Right.
did say
He
that,
said that.
he said something on the lines that, what did he say? Elections are not an option, it is a right.
Not only a right, we have to definitely use our vote to elect governments and throw out governments. It is so very unfortunate, it is again Jaja or the government which removed these by-election systems also. In this country we need by-elections too. That is the way how you check the pulse of the people, right? If you hold by-elections now, then they get the message that they are not living up to the expectations of the people. So it is so very unfortunate, it is so very undemocratic not to deprive people of their due voting rights. not to hold elections. Not only not holding elections, but you have to run acceptable governance and accepted by the people. So it is so very unfortunate none of the things are there in the present system. It has to be changed.
It has to be changed. How do the people, what do you think the people can do? I mean, can we march to the Treasury? Can we march to the Prime Minister's office? Whatever it is, and demand action against Mahendra.
In this article, I have said another thing. Now, Ranil Wickremesinghe apparently copied this 100-day program from President Roosevelt. I have clearly specified this. Unfortunately, he had taken steps to amend 15 laws, and he had inculcated all that into the system. It is so very unfortunate, just all that. I think for purposes of rhetoric and for hoodwinking the people, but again, hoodwinking is enough and enough, no more.
It's sad, isn't it? What propels people who are who strive to serve people? What happens to them when they receive power?
What happened to you, right? When people get hurt? Now, Commissioner said his heart aches, right? What happened to you when you wrote up all those issues, right? And they threatened the mass media, all that, right? No, they have to be allowed to speak the truth, and they also must speak the truth. It is so very unfortunate they want to, I mean, all those democratic rights. Actually, they should encourage people to come out with the facts, right? And they should run moral and ethical governance. It is so very unfortunate the system has changed, and time has come for us to ensure that our leaders resort to good governance. I mean, good governance in the sense, not the kind of good governance, the rhetoric alone, right? It has to be good governance in its true meaning, true sense.
Backed by delivery. Definitely. Backed by accountability,
definitely,
transparency, yes, responsibility.
Those are democratic norms, right? Unfortunately, those democratic requirements are not there. That is why it is with so much of, say, impunity. Big problem, impunity in the country.
So all our public officials, again, I'm going to rub it in. All our public officials, they've flew here, there, and everywhere. Obviously, not in economy, in coach, but in other things. They've stayed in hotels. They've spent our money.
Definitely.
And they've only come back and said, "Oh, we can't find Arjun Mahendra." But a media outfit based in South Africa have managed to track him down, get an opinion from him on some matter, and ironically on money laundering. God knows how much of the so many billions that they profited out of. God knows how much of that was laundered. Think about it. We got back KP back again here to Sri Lanka.
And now we need to get Arjuna Mahendra.
And now he's the new KP. AM, Arjuna Mahendra. When you're traveling, keep an eye open. Get your cameras out at the ready. Because one of these days, the people will find him long before our authorities find him. And let's get our money back. They can try him ex parte without him being present.
No, that's why,
and they can go after his assets.
There will be revolutions. Why did the LTTE, the JVP in 71 and 89, all that, right? It was because the governments did not deliver what they should deliver. And the youth took up arms against them, right? So it is so very unfortunate whether these people are again inviting the youth. After all,
they are sowing the seeds of frustration amongst the people by not
so very
on
unfortunate,
democracy.
Right? Schools are being shut. Now, free education, Dr. C.W.W. Kanankara, right, wanted schools all over. Every 2 miles, there was a junior school. Every 5 miles, there was a Mahavidyalaya. In prominent cities, Madhya Mahavidyalayas. Actually, over the period up to now, nearly 1,500 schools have been shut down, and people have no schools for their children. They find all kinds of excuses, lame excuses, right? Not that. There must be provision educate the people so that if the people are educated, they will know what has gone wrong.
Lassa De Silva, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching Newsline. We'll see you again tomorrow with another guest and a topic that will be clearly close to the heart, to your heart, the people's heart. Take care, have a great day ahead, and of course, God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.